You're listening to a DM podcast.
What they said.
Coming up on today's show, Naomi gives her thoughts on when is the right time to introduce your partner to friends in Naomi's Wifey Lifey.
In Lou's dating diary, Lou talks about what to expect on a second date and why it is so important.
We ask a big question, when do you know that you're ready to date again, in question of the week.
And we come to the end of our fire signs with Sagittarius in star-crossed lovers. Are they all man or just all beast?
And in Perfect Match this week, we get to meet our newest perfect match couple. All that and more in today's show. What's up, Naomi?
Hi, Lou. We're back again for
We
another
are
week.
back, and it again feels like we've never left. Like, has it?
It seems like, yes, we're here all the time.
It seems like we practically sleep here and just do all this content just for the herd.
For the herd.
For the herd.
We do everything for the herd. Back at the Bella Vista Hotel today.
Yes, we are, and we're looking forward to another jam-packed, extraordinarily huge, gymongous episode.
Yes.
I brought back new words now.
Yes, you did. You did. You
didn't say chockers. Oh dear, look at that. I said chockers.
Let's get started.
Let's do it.
Wifey Lifey.
So, Naomi, what is in store this week in Wifey Lifey?
Wifey Lifey. This week I'm going to talk about introducing friends to new partners.
The judgemental friends, eh?
The judgmental friends.
No, you're too good for it. No, I'm just joshing. I'm just joking.
Yep. And just sort of like, when is the right time to introduce friends?
Oh,
When do you bring them into your life? Now, we sort of like talked briefly about when to bring new partners in with family.
And I think it's different,
Yeah,
right? I think with friends, I think you can bring them into your friendship circle
Fairly early on.
fairly quick.
Yep.
Because
You need those girlfriends.
man, you need people to remove those blinkers and to give a bit of clarity, right? You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because you could be going on awesome dates and and you'd be chatting them up to your friends and that, and then
you're all goo goo gaga.
exactly,
And
then
there's a massive red flag.
and which you can't see because he's great at jiu-jitsu and it's a double black belt. That's never going to get old, right? And
I gotta find somebody.
you got to find some dirt on it. You got to find somebody that does jiu-jitsu.
Throw them your way.
But it's true though. It's like they can see it, and not only that, if he's going to be part of your life, he needs to
Get along with your friends, right?
hell yeah.
Like because my friends are an important part of my,
Your
Part of
world.
my-
I hope
my
so.
like I've got really good friends,
Yes.
and so their take or their opinions is important.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you're right. Your girlfriends will be able to suss them out and see. Is he good enough?
Is he right fit for you? Because
Yeah.
they know you more than sometimes what they know yourself. Right? Hence, look, I put my trust in Naomi, like. As
We'll
well,
see where that
with that whole
goes.
blind date, we'll see. But hey, it's true though, and sometimes friends can be super judgmental,
Yep.
but for a reason, right?
because you like to think that they've got your best interest at heart.
Yeah. So, guys, don't be surprised if you do get the, third degree. Like, it's funny though, because this is so what happened was that I remember one time I introduced one of my partners to my friends.
Yep.
And, this is when I was in London. Yeah. So I used to share a flat with 5 Irish guys.
Oh God.
And I was the only girl.
5 Irish guys.
Yeah, 5 Irish guys.
Right, okay.
And they treated me like their little sister.
That's sounds like almost like Snow White.
And it does, isn't it?
Snow White in the
So we ran a pub together,
Oh,
right?
okay,
So
yep.
that's how it happened, right? So and we all lived. It was a massive pub. We all lived above the pub. If you're in the UK, you kind of know what we're talking about. But that's what most pubs happen, right? You live above the pub.
Yep.
So I used to share this place with these 5 Irish lads. It was an Irish pub, and I was dating this guy. And he came to meet me. I brought him upstairs because I had to go do something, not really thinking about it.
Yep.
And I had to go to the bathroom or something, and he was sat there.
Yeah.
And I not thinking anything of it. And so I went and did my thing, came back, and he was literally sat there, and the 5 guys were around him, and it was awkward. There was this awkward tension, and I was just like, what's going on?
Yeah.
It turns out that they were like, as soon as I walked out, they were like interrogating him. They were like, so what do you do? Where you go? Where you from? What's your intentions? Like, what you like? What's going on? Like, you know, lose like.
There's a bit of a license, isn't there, for your friends to be able to question
Without even asking you, you're like, they just do it.
Oh,
right?
they just do it.
And you
They
just
go,
like,
they go,
"What?"
I got to look out for my girlfriend.
You know, and it's just instinctively, so they will just do it. And I didn't expect, because when I left them, everyone was standing up and talking and that, and then
Yeah,
it
and
just
they're like,
literally instinctively, the 5 went to one end of the room, and
So how intimidating for that guy
you know,
to
yeah.
actually have 5 men interrogate him.
And I was just like, well, and they were, and he said, oh wow, I didn't know, like. And I was like, what happened? And he told me. I mean, I went back and was like, guys, man, seriously, what, really? But they had my best interest at heart.
Yeah. So for me, it was slightly different with my partner. So you know the story how I was actually recruiting him for the Sydney Friends group.
So Mr. Naomi Ko almost wasn't Mr. Naomi Ko.
No,
It could have been Mr. Someone else on Sydney Friends.
Yeah. And so he got introduced to my group of friends fairly early on. It was almost like a bit of a baptism of fire.
I think with us in general, right, I think you have to, they have to know quite early how we are.
Yeah.
You know, and I was.
And my world is pretty crazy, as you know.
Yeah.
And like even my
It's
kids.
stupidly crazy.
Oh, like even my kids are like, what are you know, like with about the orphans Christmas?
Yeah.
Like they even said, what is this? Who are you with?
Oh.
You know, like they just don't get my world.
Yeah.
So I
I like an orphan's. I mean, I did, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So it was important for me to sort of like see how he fitted in with the people that I deal with. And it's important that he holds his own.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's one thing. I was speaking to this blind date that Naomi set me up on, and I said to you know, because he goes, "Oh, what sort of person are you looking for?" And I said, "Well, you know, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. But one thing that I like about what Naomi and Mr. Naomi Ko has is that Naomi would go recruit online for men on Bumble, all these dating sites and that, right? And put call outs for men, and you know, speak to people and everything. And Mr. Naomi Ko is just like, it's just Naomi doing her thing, isn't it? Like just blasts at you, like, you know. And it's not, you know, because there's trust and whatever there.
There's
you
a
know,
lot of trust there, and I couldn't.
and you got to have a good enough grounded thing to be able to deal with something like that,
totally.
right?
And we keep our conversation very, very open and honest all the time. Like there would be no way that I would have actually gone on dating site recruiting people for the group or recruiting.
And she works hard, man. Like for real.
You know, he's privy to those conversations as well. So
Yeah.
it's an open situation where he knows what I'm actually doing. So I've always kept it very honest with him. So there's a lot of trust there.
Yeah.
And I think we've got a very secure relationship, and there's enough trust and respect for each other that I trust that whatever he tells me that he's doing, that's what he's doing. Do you know what I mean? Like life is too short to be sort of like be
Absolutely.
suspecting of them, you know, or could he be talking?
And it's also the banter as well, because Sydney Friends, we have, look, guys, man, if you haven't been on Sydney Friends yet, I know we got the What They Said Facebook group as
page,
well.
yeah.
So please, whereas we talk all podcast related stuff, but Sydney Friends is where it can get a bit wild and funny and etc. And the banter there is very humorous, and you need to not necessarily fit in with that, because there's going to be some introverted people,
Yeah,
etc.
yeah.
But you got to understand that, you know, the banter and the jests, etc. Because it is your group as well.
Yeah. And it's that group has actually grown as well since we've actually done the
Do we have
podcast.
1,000 now? Like,
I think we're a bit 9 shy of 1,000.
Look, I reckon by the time this
airs, we'll go over 1,000. But we like to keep the group safe and fun, and
I mean, we do have some naughty ones in there, like, you know,
yeah.
Andrew. Yeah, it's like, So, who was on the new Christmas?
Yeah, Christmas special.
Where on his best behaviour there, but you know, but yeah. So, but it's a good. So that's what I mean. You got to be able to not necessarily. You don't have to fit in quite and be like as gregarious as some people on there, but you got to understand the.
The group has a really nice dynamic, but so part of introducing him into my world was introducing him to Sydney friends. And
So he didn't know. So you kind of met him to join Sydney Friends. So you did.
it was, I think it was like literally 12 or 13 hours after we initially spoke on Hinge.
So you were looking for somebody for you, like
For
you
the
would
group.
date. Oh, for your group. So you weren't even like.
No, because I'd actually given up on dating overall. I'd actually given up on dating overall. And I'm just like, our group, Sydney
I've
friends.
got a look of like pure confusion. I actually looked at Miss Naomi K and went, what?
What? You need to.
And even he's looking at me
take
going,
that photo.
Yeah, like all baffled in that.
Yeah, totally baffled. And and so then what? So he was. Louise is just doing the confused look for the photo opportunity, and so we were actually.
That was like a Benny Hill
Yeah,
face.
it was a benefit, but I was actually recruiting him for the group because I'd actually given up on dating. 'Cause I'm
Wow.
like, oh man, this is just such hard work. I'm just going to recruit men for the group.
That's serendipity.
Oh, it was fun. And so then I actually, I sort of like said, blah, 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 this group, and do you want to join it? And you know what? There's some sense to that madness as well. Because when he actually joined the group, I could see his Facebook and, just to see his.
It was all coming out now again, isn't it?
So it was.
She stalks you.
So it was.
No, she ain't denying it.
Yeah, I'm not denying. But it was just sort of like one of those things you just do, and then all of a sudden it goes, oh, hang on a minute, that was a good idea. And so I invited him to join us for one of our events down at the Christmas markets down at Circular Quay. So he met a couple of people, and he didn't get completely scared off.
Yeah, if that doesn't scare him, then bloody hell.
Nothing
yeah.
else. But I sort of like, he was a little bit slower in introducing his friends. I know about them, from all his
What do you mean by
jiu-jitsu.
slow, though?
Well, I met the rest of his friends probably a couple of weeks ago.
What?
Yeah.
What?
We finally got everybody to. Oh, they're
Second time, confused face.
2 years later.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm all proper confused.
Right?
I'm confused again.
Yeah.
No, so you only met his mates, like
All of his mates.
Right.
Like I met drips and drabs.
Right.
But like a few weeks ago, we sort of like met for dinner with the whole group because a couple of his mates did actually move out of Sydney as well.
Okay,
To
fair
be fair,
dues. Yeah,
to be
yeah,
fair.
yeah,
And
yeah, fair
me
play,
and my
yeah.
12-kilometre rules.
Yeah, exactly.
It's too many tolls. But yeah, I finally met all his friends, and so that was really nice.
How did that go? Like,
yeah,
did you feel
really-
kind of nervous? Did you
They knew of me, which was good. So they didn't mistake my name for somebody else.
Well, that's good that they know of you, right? Because like, okay, after 2 years, who's this then?
Who's she? But I think it's a little bit common practice as well in that group of friends because, there was another mate of his who's had a girlfriend for 3 years and it's the first time.
And they still don't know if she's real or not. You know what I mean? So AI computer generated like woman, like
So I didn't feel, like they were really good and we had a really good time. So
Also, and how did he feel about introducing you? I know he's right here and I can't really talk to him because he's like,
yeah,
nah.
look, I think he tried a couple of times. He did try.
Oh, okay.
Like I can't.
He's nodding, so
He did try
bless
a lot
him.
at times, and it was like coordinating between my crazy life, and
he's like
and he's
nodding vigorously.
nodding really, really,
vigorously.
and also with his friends being in all different locations. So if it was better as a Teams meeting, it could have been done probably
Proper Zoom, yeah.
But
So I'm just like, wow. I don't know why I'm shocked about it.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is true, especially with the way the world was, a few years ago. As who could forget, you know, when a crater hit Earth. No, I'm just joking, right? We was, the pandemic. Yeah,
the pandemic. Yeah, like I think a lot of people just sort of like found that it was a good opportunity to move out of Sydney, which they did, and they've enjoyed living outside Sydney. So it's hard for us to catch up.
I mean, I definitely do agree with you that the sooner the better that you can, meet the friends. Meet the friends.
You can always suss them out as well.
Yeah, exactly. You can suss them out. Like, are they the people that they say they are? Also, how they interact with their friends. Are they a completely different person when they're with their friends?
Yeah, right.
I mean, are they kind of weird? Because there is that sort of trust thing. I mean, like, you know, I know, for example, I can be different with other people, etc. And it's interesting to see, you know.
Yeah, the dynamics with them and their friend, most definitely. And it's always nice to sort of like ask the friends for a little bit of dirt as well.
You know, I mean, they don't put that segment in, you know, the Bachelorette for nothing, right?
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what
that's
I mean?
right. Yeah.
So
Where
they meet the friends and family.
yeah.
So and they drill them, and not only the friends do super drill them, and then they obviously try and drill the friends, and the friends are like, no. I think it's really important because, you know, as you say, you can gauge somebody's kind of interest. You can see the interaction. You can see you can sometimes see things even before yourself can.
Yeah. So you sort of like suss out the type of person that they are from their interactions with their friends and the type of friends that they have as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's a compliment as well when you say, I want you to meet my friends. If you're listening to this and you think, oh, you know, he wants, you know, this person, he or she wants me to meet their friends, don't feel all freaked out about it. I see it as a positive. I see it as a proper positive that he or she wants to invite you into their world, you know?
Yeah.
Enjoy it, get to know not just him, but also his mates and use the opportunity to like learn more, not just by bombarding them with questions like those 5 Irish guys. Okay, well, hi, don't do that. All right, it's a bit intimidating. Okay, just interact and just look at the cues, look at the, you know, interact, all that
jazz.
You
want to go out with someone, or you want to be with someone who does have really strong friendships with other people as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that a girlfriend once said to me, you know, even for women, if women have a lot of women friends, that's always a good indication of the type of person that they are. And yeah, so that to me is important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for being a friend.
Lou's Dating Diary.
So this week, because like obviously I've been speaking to a couple of people and obviously went on a blind date as well.
Yes.
And we're talking about second dates.
Yes.
And, you know, when should you arrange a second date? When, like, you know, when's the right time? Like, and how do you navigate through that? Like, who asks who? Like, I think, you know, it's always awkward.
Yeah, because the first date is like the meet and greet.
Yeah, you get to
sort
know
of like
someone.
You meet them and see, okay, are they real?
Yeah. Not only that, it's okay. If it's online, do their pictures match up to that person? Yep. Are they the right? All that kind of jazz stuff, right?
And so after the date, you normally, what do you do after even the first date? What do you do? Do you do anything after the first date?
Yeah, after the first date, I text back saying, you know, thanks for a lovely time. Okay, so if I do want to see them again, all right, because usually it's a case of thanks for a lovely time, but no thanks.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Usually it's that. So I would go, oh, thanks for a lovely time. You know, really keen to catch up again. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Sometimes, most of the time, they would probably come back to me first to say that, or they would say it on the end of the first date or first meeting or what have you, and they will, you know, instigate something like, oh, I'll call you or I'll text you about catching up again, right? So, you know, so yeah. So, and I like to move quite quickly with that. Yep. With the second date to firm something up.
Yep.
Because I think in terms of going on a second date, there's still that kind of mindset where you're still a bit wishy-washy because
and you're still trying to filter.
Yeah, you're still trying to filter. So sometimes if you leave it too long, it
loses the momentum.
It loses the momentum and stuff, right? So I think you do need to see each other. I'd say within that week.
Yeah, I agree.
I know most people are like, whoa, a week, man. What the hell? Give me time to breathe. Like, no, a week.
A week is a good time. A week to 10 days is probably 2 weeks is probably.
I think 2 weeks is too much, though. Yeah,
the maximum.
Yeah,
you know, like
if you're on holiday or we've got some.
Yeah, or you've got kids 1 week on, 1 week off, or whatever.
Yeah,
those things you can understand.
Absolutely, yeah.
But most definitely within the 1 week to 10 days.
Yeah, 1 to 10 days. Yeah, absolutely. You know,
and that's a second date.
For me personally, if you've done like a drinks, lunch, dinner thing, I think the second date should be doing something different,
like an activity,
like a sip and paint, like a escape room or something.
10-pin bowling.
Yeah,
escape room. Are you sure?
Oh, okay. I swear we spoke about this, isn't it?
Yeah, okay, you don't want to escape. What if you get stuck in there?
Yeah, but I think if you're on a second date, I think you'd be okay to be in a room like that and not being able to escape because you agreed to a second date, so you kind of know that.
So you've got a bit of a mind.
Yeah,
sort of like. Yeah, so you've met it the first time. They're not totally nuts.
No, so they're not gonna kill you. They're not like they're not skin you alive and make like furniture out your skin or whatever. Sorry, I watch too much true crime.
Yeah, you're listening to too much true
I've got nothing else to do. No, I was joking. Yeah, I do. I'm busy. And no, but it's true though. I think by the second date, you'd know
you're going to suss out if you want to spend.
If you want to spend more time and if you can be alone with that person because. Otherwise, why go on that second date, really?
Yeah, totally. And so you line up the second date. I agree with you about the activity, either a walk or a cycle or...
Not the movies, though, because you're not going to be talking.
No, you're not talking. Yeah, I agree.
So don't go to the movies. Don't go to a theatre. Maybe a gig or stand-up thing.
Yep.
Right?
That's always good.
Something like that. And I think that's awesome. So something where it's both your common interest or something, right?
Yep.
Or something that you want to try.
Yep.
Potentially,
and it gives you a good idea about that person, what they're up to as well. So, for example, if you might say, oh, have you been kayaking? And they haven't been kayaking. Whether they are willing to go, oh, okay, yeah, I haven't been kayaking, but I'd love to go and try it out. Because that always gives you a little bit more insight on the type of personality.
Exactly. Are they spontaneous? Are they like kind of like, hell no, I'm not going to try that? Well,
yeah, that's right.
It's like, whoa, what else won't you try then? If I came up with a good enough kind of activity or thing to do, like, and you just shoot it down as a pure no, it kind of gives you a kind of a
what type of mindset that they have. Most definitely. So I think that is important.
You know, and I think also with the second date, I think with the first date, you do kind of make sure you're dressed up to the night. I don't know, you're a bit more polished, I think.
Or first impressions.
First impressions, right? I think in the second time, I think, look, this is what I do. I make sure that I'm still polished, still the same same kind of level as, because I'm sorry, I mean, it does drop a bit after a while. Like, I mean, it's like
you're a bit more casual.
A bit more casual, but I think it depending on obviously the activity that you're doing.
Yep.
I think you still should come there presentable.
Yep.
Like you mean business, not business like as in business, but you mean that you showing up
because
for that person.
It's still qualifying you, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's both. It works both ways.
You're not the only one qualifying that person. They're also qualifying you. And so you can't just drop your laurels, right? You can't just like go,
that's right.
Oh, I've got a second date now. I'm in, man. Buying that hat.
So it is just sort of like saying, okay, after the second date, the purpose is to see if you're actually interested in seeing that person long term. Yeah,
I'd say. I mean, do you see yourself going on that third date? And as you say, third and fourth and stuff. I think the second one is more, especially if you were unsure in that initial first date, because sometimes you can meet people and be completely like, there's an attraction there, and then you're like, but I don't know really. I don't know.
Do you talk between the first and the second date?
I reckon so, definitely. I think otherwise, what's the point? You can't go, well, you went on the first date and then hear nothing and then go on the second date. You're like, what? I think there has to be
to be a lot of conversation. Well, not a lot. There has to be communication between the two.
Definitely. That kind of like, obviously after the first date, that text, I really enjoyed it. And then the next day, go, how was your day type thing, blah, blah, blah. I was thinking maybe we should go, that sort of thing. And then it will lead into that. And I think there has to be that sort of stuff. It doesn't have to be every day. It could be, every other day, But I think during that first initial first date up to the second one, there has to be a fair few texts. Not like all this love bombing. Don't go there, man.
Not too much of the good morning, good night, all that stuff.
Yeah, don't. Sweet dreams, it's too much,
Yeah.
And don't go calling people baby or babe or sexy or straight off the, after the first date. Just because it was a great first date doesn't necessarily mean it's time to do
because
pet
it can
names,
actually
man.
turn people off as well. When
it turns me off.
On.
It turns me off. And sometimes I see other people do it, and even after just kind of meeting each other, and they've been going out together for like 3 weeks, and they're already calling each other like terms that these really like, my Rapunzel or proper weirdo names. Oh, donkey. I don't know who calls them. Anyway,
I hope not.
Well, there's people out there who go, yeah, she calls me donkey. We all right. But so it's you gotta have that communication in between, but there has to, it can't be too full on.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know,
and you don't, not too full on. I guess both parties to have a buy-in for the second date as well.
yeah, and just use that opportunity to get to know each other, talk a bit more about values, and if that wasn't spoken about in the first date, and just generally get to know each other a bit more. See, because in your first date, sometimes you're a bit more nervous, so there's some things that you kind of wouldn't necessarily spot because you're overthinking things. I know this is me. I'm talking about I overthink things, and I'm like,
and you don't want to give too much information out on the first date as well.
There's oversharing, and then there's not sharing enough.
Yeah,
you got to try and find a balance.
It is a really fun
and it's hard. Right?
It
Sometimes I can just chat away and waffle because you already got over that nervousness type thing. Use that second date to see how he interacts with, and I think we talked about this in second episode of season one, whatever it was, how they interact with other people, like staff.
Yes.
Like, use that opportunity to see.
It is a bit of an observation.
It's an observation. I'd see the second date as more observation.
Yeah. And
thing.
it is like a second interview for a job.
When you go for a second
You haven't
interview,
passed them to HR yet. HR's your friends.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's true because you haven't got that job yet. So why would you go in there in a second date going, yeah, baby, I've done it. It's all good. And all like, you're still on that job, you're still on probation, you're still on you're not even on probation, mate.
Yes. So no, it is a qualifier round.
I'm trying to think of other things and just enjoy it. Just go in there. Still don't have too high of expectations.
And the other thing also is that during the second date or first and second date, if the other person is still dating, that's okay. That's the other thing that I get a little bit. I don't know, like, how sometimes people go, oh, we've had a date. Mm-hmm. He's not exclusive to you.
No, he's not.
And you're not exclusive to him either.
Yeah.
But and so there's still, he's probably going out on other dates and so are you, and that's okay. So until you actually sort of like have that conversation and say, hey, are we seeing each other exclusively?
Because you do get these things. You do see and hear people go, oh, I went out on this date. We went out on a couple of dates, right? Like maybe 2 or 3, whatever it is, right? It's still a couple. That's still a few.
And he's still vague. Or he's, like...
I saw on his phone and he's got all these messages on Bumble and that. And I'm like, whoa, you're supposed to be... And they're like, well, it's only been like 3 dates. So have you had that exclusivity talk? No. We're still in the getting to know phase. And you're like, well, there's still,
Yeah, and I think that ever since things have actually started going on apps... and things being available online, people think that as soon as you go out with someone, they're exclusively yours. But in real life, when we were dating in our 20s...
I was just going to say.
You wouldn't know who the other guy was dating. And that is...
you wouldn't know, would you?
You wouldn't know.
And
who would you ask? You wouldn't know. And I think
carry a pigeon. Can you go find that for me, please? Ouija board. That's what we used to do. I don't try. Anyway, right?
But that's it. Like I wouldn't go. Oh, I went out on a date, and so all my girlfriends would say, "Oh, who is he? Or what's he like?" Blah blah blah. But you don't go automatically find out if he is actually dating other girls.
Exactly.
Because and the reverse is true as well. That if I am actually looking for a partner, I would like to date a couple of people before you actually narrow it down to, like, you shouldn't really just focus all the eggs in one basket.
It's like you want to find, that's just like Cinderella and Prince Charming. You want to find that shoe that fits, what I mean, like, and into your life. And I completely agree with you. It's like, so just because you connected, you had a great 2-3 dates, etc. After your second date, you go, yeah, we got a third one, and they're still kind of, you're not exclusive. You're not engaged. You're not like about to move in together.
Yeah,
you're not,
that's right.
It's not that. You're not.
So give it
exclusive.
all a bit of a ease off on that.
Yeah,
and just enjoy the present and the time that you have with that person. When
and it doesn't mean, and he's not cheating on you. No. Don't say that this person's cheating or he's a bad egg or
she's not playing the field. Nobody's playing. In the initial
they're single.
stages. Yeah, everybody's single and everybody should actually look at options. It's like if you were buying a car, you would be test driving a couple of cars.
Exactly, right?
You wouldn't just say, okay, well, I'll go to Toyota and that means I can't drive a Hyundai. Yeah. So same.
And they have trial periods as well. Like, you do that, right? Sometimes you don't necessarily like buy the first thing you see. As you say, you go and try other things. That you got an event to go to, you got to buy a dress. But you got to buy this dress. But there's all these other dresses that you want to, it might be.
You're not cheating on the other dresses.
Exactly. So just stop it. Yep. Is that my first stop it this year?
I think so.
There you go. Right? Yeah, it's back.
Question of the week.
you are ready to date again?
That's a very good question. And obviously, because I, paused there, it's like, when do you know you're ready? Are you ever ready? Right? Because sometimes you can be just on Bumble or Hinge or Tinder just trying to recruit for the Facebook group. And then you're like,
right.
Find someone.
And then yeah, that's right. Or you match with Naomi, who's trying to match Lou to a potential date.
So when is the right time?
So when is the right time for you, Lou?
Look, I think, again, we touched on this before. I think you've got to do the work on yourself first. You've got to understand what it is, not just what you're looking for, but who you are as a person, and a lot of self-reflection. I think, and I thought, prior to obviously starting this podcast and going on all these, dumpster fire dates, that I was actually ready for it.
Yeah.
And, I think in confidence and in being able to put myself out there, I think I was.
Yep.
But I think deep down, I was mostly looking for, okay, this is what I want. So it's like that list thing. I mean, I didn't really write a list of people, but I think in all honesty, I reckon I did honestly have a list of my do's and
you do.
wants, right?
I think if you say that you don't.
Yeah, but so I had that already, but what I wasn't ready for was actually how I would feel going from one date to the other and not being able to necessarily find my happy ever after. So, after not necessarily one date, but, at least after freaking 5, 7, 8 times. And I didn't understand how exhausting it can be.
Oh, it is, yeah.
How hard going it is to navigate through. And I guess that's why we started this podcast. It's funny because, we started this podcast in order to help people navigate that dating landscape. And it's for me especially, I don't think you can ever be ready because there's always going to be something new that you got to learn or take on board, etc. When I first started, as I said, I do honestly think now I use possibly last season as sort of therapy in order to fully understand who I am actually and what really I am looking for. And I think now in season 2, I've come back thinking, I've reflected. It's got me thinking about all this other stuff, and I think I am now ready to understand, some of the, the complexities, and there's going to be highs and lows, funny times, etc. And how to understand that and take that on board for me and to learn from it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that since we've started the podcast, it's been a really good, like you said, a learning curve in the sense that we've actually gone back and looked at the individual building blocks of dating.
Yeah.
We're sort of like
we've
deconstructed.
Deep. Yeah.
We've just deconstructed like what is actually involved in the
it's
process
not
of dating.
Just downloading the app, swiping left and right. It's not just that.
There's actually a lot of things that we do need to sort of like think about, and it's always been really interesting to look in the Wifey Lifey section of what I'm actually looking for this time round, and to actually explore and in a way correlate that with how it's going in your dating life. And it's been really interesting to sort of like see. It is. And for different people, when you're ready to date can mean different things.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
Because when you're ready to date, it could be that you're ready to date, but you want something casual. You don't want like full-on, relationship. And for a while, when I first started dating, I was like, I don't want anyone who's looking for casual because they must know what they want type thing.
Yeah.
But now I understand why they may want that. Yeah,
and you also appreciate the people who are actually listed on their profile, one night stand or friends with benefits.
But just say it. Yeah. Say it up front. That's all I ask for.
Yeah, and so those people have actually got a lot of clarity in what they're actually looking out for.
There's no ambiguity. They've been upfront and honest, so you can't really get upset and stuff if you did have a shag that night and you don't hear back from them again, because they did say, what I mean? What are you going to say?
Yeah, they're not looking for a relationship.
So it's funny that you mentioned that about this, about he said, you listen to Wife. I mean, I listened to my dating diary from last year, and I did it through Christmas. I went over to the Hunter Valley and I was listening to it and it's funny how much I've grown. And towards the end, especially to the New Year's Eve episode where I just felt all this reflection and stuff, because I looked back and went, wow, I thought I was like ready for this and geared up. I'm ready to just go out there and smash it out and date it and and it after everything that I went through, I was like, no, actually, I feel I'm ready now.
Yeah.
Because
it is a bit of an evolution, isn't it?
Evolution, and you got to kiss some frogs and go through some Benny Hills and things, and for it to
figure out exactly what you're after and the type of person that you are as well.
Exactly.
I remember when my marriage ended in 2017, I got into dating pretty quickly. But at that particular stage, it wasn't so much as me finding the next partner. I hadn't dated for like 17 years. So for me, it was sort of like figuring out I need to go out there, meet new people. And I use the apps for that reason. So for me, it was getting myself out there. And how my marriage ended wasn't a mutual decision. And I guess I was the person left behind. So there was a lot of things that I was going through that sort of I wasn't good enough for the marriage. I wasn't good enough for to be a wife. And so all that was playing in my head. So when I actually started dating again, it was more to sort of like go, I actually want to just go out there and meet a whole heap of people.
And have fun.
And enjoy. And enjoy, like there's only so much you can actually enjoy in the presence of girlfriends, and when you're dating or you're meeting up with a man or a person of the opposite sex, if you're hetero, is to actually be in a position where you have an adult conversation that is totally unrelated to your life. And that's what I looked at dating was initially for myself because, I lost so much of myself in that marriage. And I was a mum and I was a wife for such a long period of time.
Yeah, and you've just forgotten
I've forgotten who I was. And it wasn't until I actually started dating again that I just thought, hang on a minute, these are the things that I am passionate about and these are the things that I represent and these are the things that I'm looking for. And that was a real learning experience for me. Yeah. So for me, I did go back into the dating scene fairly quickly. And through that, I found it was almost like you said, therapy.
Yes. I think you definitely have to do, and we touched this on last season, you got to do the work. I think you've got to be ready in order to, if you've got to be ready that you want a date, I think you also got to be ready to be hurt by some things because you may meet someone and they may not, find you attractive. You may have thought that date went well and you've got to be okay with that, having that rejection, right?
Totally.
So you've got to be, hard enough and confident enough to take that on the chin and go, cool. If you're still feeling, especially if you were dumped previously and you feel like sort of rejected by it, having that sort of rejection again so soon can knock your confidence again and can break you, right? So you've got to be okay with rejection. So I think that's number one with in terms of going back on the dating site. So heal yourself first from any other
totally. And just to add to that as well, like while I was actually dipping my toe back into the dating world, I did have regular sessions with a therapist. And I was doing a lot of gym workouts and stuff like that. So there was a lot of outside work as well. Yeah, but you are right. You do have to be okay with rejection.
Be okay with rejection. I think also a second thing that I could think of is, and I know this sounds easy, but have your shit in order, right? Like, don't go out dating if you know that that you've got all these issues and also all this like other things like, you don't have time to date because you don't want to be that flaky person who's cancelling on stuff because you've got X, Y, and Z. You got trumpet practice. You got taekwondo lessons and I want to see how many episodes I can put that in, right? You're too busy. You make time to date, to meet new people, and you got to be able to know that you've got that time in order to go out there and that you have that time. You cannot shoehorn stuff, right? You can't arrange to meet people just off the fly. I've got 30 minutes here. It's fine.
I had I had some friends who were doing that where they became serial daters, and if there was an event or anything like that, they would be ready to if they would they'll ask me, Naomi, what are you doing between 3 and 5? And I'd say, I'm doing stuff, and then they'll say, oh, I'm actually, coming out of a date, and then I've got to kill some time before 6 o'clock, and I'm just thinking, that's just crazy.
Exactly. So as I said, make sure you got your shit in order. Make sure that you're also solvent enough. I mean, to be able to go out on dates, etc. And that's both sexes. It should. Look, I saw something online that the man should pay for the first date. I think right. I think
that's always a contentious issue.
It was an article on thing, but this guy. Well, I don't know. He's got a show on Sky News, so I think that explains a lot. But anyway, right? It's at the end of the day, I think both of you should be able to go out there with money.
Yep.
So that you can both, in case something weird happens, you can pay your own way at least, right?
Yep.
Don't go over there broke, right? Don't go over there. And there's another article, eating the leftovers from the next table. That was messed up, right? So make sure that you're solvent enough and you can afford to go out.
Yep.
Right, because as I said, things can happen. You may need to get a taxi or something. Don't go out there expecting a free dinner or something.
Yeah.
Right,
and like some single mums do that.
Do they?
Yeah, like I had some guys who talk about it, and they said, I was her third date for the day, or
what, breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Yeah.
Blimey, eh?
And so and sometimes single mums get a bad rap for that.
Yeah, I'm single mum. I mean,
but I think, like you said,
but it's not just single mums. Hey, there's people that do that, men and women who, as you say, to get a free. Yeah. And it's crazy. So don't be prepared and be ready to go Dutch, whatever. Look, if you are a traditional person who wants to pay the first date, if you're a guy, then fine. But ladies and men don't expect a free thing. Yep. So be ready. Be solvent enough. Be
prepared.
Be prepared. Know that you can afford to date someone because you don't want to go into a relationship and your finances are skewed and because that could mess a relationship up as well.
Yep.
So make sure your finances are in order and
your
shit's in order, right?
And really have a purpose why you're out there dating.
Yeah, why are you? That's a good question.
Why are you dating?
Yeah, why are you dating? Are you dating because you want company and you want a support animal? You know what I mean? It's like a person there is not your support dog, animal, whatever. They're not your emotional punching bag and stuff. They're a person that's supposed to complement your life. So don't be thinking that, I need someone because I'm lonely. I want,
Yeah, I want somebody to make me happy. That's not going to happen
That ain't gonna
if
happen.
you haven't done the work on yourself.
Exactly. No other person should be the one making you. That should be down to you.
Yeah, so it takes a lot of self-reflection and actually being really, really sure about why you are actually wanting to go back out there and date.
And it goes with what you said before. Like if it's sex and you just want sex,
be honest.
Be upfront and honest.
Yeah,
that's what you want.
And so at least when people are actually going out there, and
you've got a choice.
Yeah, you let them make the choice about you. That if they're actually looking for sex and you're looking for sex, then there is a matching there. But if that person is actually looking for a relationship and you're looking for sex and you're not being upfront about it,
and you just want to get in their pants and stuff,
then it leads to a lot of
it's messy, isn't it?
It is messy.
And then you don't understand why she was all like, "What, I slept with him and blowing up your phone," because she was led under the impression that that there was more.
Yeah.
Right?
So it goes both ways. It goes
both ways. Yeah.
And we've always said that about dating profiles is to be as honest as possible.
Yeah.
And to be a true representation of the person that you are. The only person that you're lying to, if you are lying on the apps, is yourself.
Yeah.
So when you lie about your age or your height or your weight or your job or anything like that, the only person you're deceiving is yourself.
So as we said again in season 1, I think your true self can come out quite quickly and early. It's very hard to hide your true self anyway, right? Because it's going to get found out. Right?
Oh, totally.
You're going to get found out.
And it's either, if it's not the first date and it's subsequent date,
it will still get found out. It could be a year later.
Yeah, that's right. You'll still get found out and you're better off just sort of letting them know, because the person that they actually connect with should be the person moving forward.
Also, I think just touching just very quickly, I think also your kids and your children, depending on how the breakup happened
as well.
Be kind of mindful how that happens, especially and make sure that if you've got kids, etc., that they come first, etc.
Yep.
Don't just because you've got a date with a hot chick or hot man and stuff, and you got your kids that night, don't try and fob them off somewhere. They need stability. So it's you've got to be ready to navigate that element of it as
especially,
well.
exactly. Like if you do have children, to remain children focused, because kids,
and that's not being selfish and putting yourself. You're putting your kids first.
Yeah, and getting them to understand the position that parents go through, or the emotional. They don't actually have a lot of that.
They don't, and they don't
brain
understand
development yet. It is important to stay very sensitive to the kids, not to sort of like divulge too much information.
I wouldn't divulge anything. Like if you're dating, I mean, do they really need to know? Nah, they don't need to know. But what I'm saying is like, don't, if you've got mandated, visitation or whatever, don't just fob them up, and to go out on dates, right? I don't think you're ready because you haven't kind of navigated that life process of how you're going to fit a relationship in, or even dating, with your personal home life. You haven't figured that out yet. That you're not ready. I'm sorry, but you're not ready. So until you figured out how that all works and how you can like slot it in your life and navigate it all in, then you're ready. But don't try and shoehorn it in there. Yeah,
it's never going to work. And when you do try to rush a process, it doesn't feel right, and it'll fall apart.
It does, it doesn't. And you know what? I know you have needs, and that's what people say. But I have needs, though. Well, but your needs is man.
But then be honest about those needs.
Yeah, be honest, but needs is needs, isn't it? I mean, no need is greater than being ready and having self-love for yourself, and also your family and your loved ones and kids.
Yep.
That's what I say. Sorry to be so serious.
So that's our take on when people should be, or when we were ready, I guess.
What's your take on it? Definitely join the Facebook group and let us know.
Star-crossed lovers.
Week's episode, we're going to talk all things Sagittarius, and it's our last fire sign.
Yes, half man, half beast.
Yes, are they the beast? Beast.
Which part is the beast and which part is the half man?
Well, look, Sagittarius people are very adventurous. They are the most adventurous sign in the zodiac. They're the ones who kind of would think of nothing of just packing up and moving like halfway across the world on a whim. Okay, so
they are very much risk takers.
The biggest risk takers in the zodiac. So if you were to say to someone, hey, I'm thinking about I would love to go to the North Pole, just on an expedition and to climb X, Y, and Z. And the Sagittarian will go, you know what? That's a great idea. Yeah. I'm booking it right. And they will go on their phone, go on lastminute.com and start booking it. Yeah, and booking it right away. They just don't. They're like
very unpredictable when it comes to that.
Unpredictable.
Yeah.
They're very hard to tie down.
Yep.
They're, as I said, they're very free. They're very free. They're very kind of beat to the sound of my own drum, but very much so. That drum kit is like banging.
Yeah. All over the place. Actually, it's so funny because my son,
there you go,
he's Sagittarius. He played the drums.
Oh, did he?
And he is like that, coming up to schoolies. This year he's finishing year 12, and he's saying, "Oh, I think I'm going to go Alaska and hunting." Not your typical Byron or Gold Coast for schoolies. Let's go hunting in Alaska. I'm like, what?
Well, it's cold, isn't it?
What? I'm going to get a tent and I'm going to go camping with my mate in I think it's Alaska, somewhere cold.
See, they are very adventurous.
So random at times.
Super random. They're also, as I said, very hard to pin down. And that could be in pinned down in a place. So they probably won't stay in one place at the same time. They're very, they love to travel, etc. And also in relationships as well. They can be very much kind of, I'm a bit bored here now. I'm transient.
Yeah.
This person may be a bit traditional, and then they'll see someone who's very adventurous, and they get their eyes turned, and but so they will go.
The thing is, and then there's the flip side, right? So having that all transient and wild, adventurous, and all that stuff. Out of my 3 children, he's probably the most emotionally intelligent. Like if I am the first to break down and cry, he'll come and give me a hug.
He might, you know what? He might have a rising sign in something or a moon sign.
Yep.
So, for example, I'm a sun sign Libra, but my moon sign is Scorpio, and my rising sign is also Scorpio. So I'm a double. I know, right? This is why sometimes I can go. So yeah, I have the artistic flair of a Libra, but I can be quite emotional and kind of like. That's why I know a lot about Scorpios. They're mental, right? But I'm not. But no, sorry, Scorpios. But who are some famous Sagittarius?
Oh, let me look that up. So Brad Pitt.
See, again, right? He had Jennifer Aniston, had his head turned with what's her face? Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
Right, who was completely different.
Opposite.
And he also dated Gwyneth Paltrow and he does kind of change to who they are, the women that he dates, and he kind of morphs into them or something.
Yep.
Right?
Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
Unexpected?
I'd say unexpected. He for me, I would have said that Jamie Foxx was a Libra and he has that sort of debonair quality, but I'm surprised at that.
Miley Cyrus.
Again, Miley Cyrus, completely, you can see her being a Sagittarius. I mean, you can see she's very laissez-faire, very free-spirited, Liam Hemsworth, he tried to make it all traditional and she was like, nah, mate.
And then she just
can't buy me
flowers. I buy my own flowers.
Right, she was like, mate. Right.
Britney Spears.
Britney Spears, again, she's she's had it quite rough and you cannot box in a Sagittarius, especially they need to be free, wild, adventurous, and that's why she does probably half the things that she does, because she's lashing out. She's kind of
because people are trying to fit her into a box.
She just wants to be. And I think Taylor Swift. Enough said, really. Sorry, all you Swifties, but really, I said, look, she is a typical Sagittarius as well.
Yeah, so that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to date a Sagittarius, show that you're adventurous. Show that, nothing really phases you. Show you're always up for, something new. Yeah, new adventures.
Who are the matching ones for Sagittarius?
Your fellow fire signs. So a fellow Sagittarius, a fellow Aries, a fellow, what's the other one? Leo, Sagittarius and Aries.
Yep.
And also some of the air signs as well. So a Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius.
We just get along with everybody.
We get along with everyone. But a Sagittarius definitely gets along, with the air signs, with another Gemini.
Yep.
Because a Gemini are you can't really tie them down as well. They're very laissez-faire. And Sagittarius is very much that.
So match them up with people with sense of adventure.
Sense of adventure. And you can't go wrong with that.
Perfect match.
Again, it's perfect match, and boy, do we have one for you this week.
Yes, we do, an exciting one. So we scour the whole of Sydney Friends for our potential perfect match participants.
And we screen everyone, right? Look, we even go
as
so
best
far
we can.
as ask, what is your favourite vegetable in your soup?
That's right.
But sometimes we get all sorts, and we're very diverse here, obviously, and
yes. And we've got a bit of a surprise here in today's episode.
Surprise, it was a bit of a bombshell, wasn't it? Just wait until you get to the end and hear this bombshell.
And we would love to hear your feedback.
So here we are with our perfect match couple.
Yes, our couples from Sydney and Friends who we've set on blind dates and, you've matched them up.
I matched them up, bless them. So, if it all goes wrong, then you guys can, So we welcome here Jessica and Brendan.
Well, hello. Welcome.
Hello.
This is the first time we've met these guys as well.
Yes. I mean, I've spoken to both of them on the phone. I've spoken to both Jessica and Brendan, and also traded texts with both of you.
Yep.
So, we're old friends now. Way back,
whole week.
So what were some of your first impressions, I guess?
Who would like to go first?
Ladies first.
Very mean. First impressions, Brendan was very friendly. Obviously, he's well presented, which was great.
Nice. There you go, Brendan.
I don't know what else to say, but first impressions were good.
Yep.
Awesome.
Oh, well, I thought Jess was very pretty, although I forgot her name at first, which was I was so focused and so nervous that I actually totally spaced her name. Got back to the table and I was like, I'm really sorry, I have to ask you your name again.
I let him off. Usually I would not be okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
I think that's quite sweet though, that's quite nice.
I was just nervous. So
Have you guys been on blind dates before?
I've been on a date for 10 years.
Oh.
Yeah, so wow.
Yes,
I've never been on an actual set up blind date.
Yep. So what made you do it this time?
Oh, I just saw it on the.
She was sick,
I
right?
was lying in bed, sick.
Nothing else to do.
Yeah. It's like, I could only
popped
swipe so
up.
much,
Drugged up.
Yeah.
She'd completed, after completing Tinder, Jess was like,
Yeah. They're like, you have no more matches available.
You've exceeded your match.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, this is the new thing. Yeah, why not? Well, it's either that or go on first dates, right? And then,
That's right. So you might
Or
as
maths.
well. Yeah, you might as well
God.
stick with
Yeah.
Sydney friends Louise and Naomi. Our dates are actually sponsored by Bella Vista Hotel. So
Yeah, how did you find it? How do you find the food and the ambiance? though?
I was actually too nervous to eat. So I feel really badly now, Jess. I'm so sorry.
This
You're
is
probably
my bowl for my
But
date. Yeah.
I was too nervous to
you're
eat.
too
so,
nervous
yeah.
to eat.
Sorry.
Lucky for Brendan, I wasn't that hungry. So
Okay.
Sorry.
if I had been hangry,
Red flag.
gone
Red flag
bad.
there.
But what you had? Did you have the drinks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
but
drink.
yeah, I'm driving, so I just had
okay.
Yeah.
one alcoholic beverage and one.
We've
soft
got
drink.
responsible citizens in
We
Sydney,
do,
friends.
you know, we absolutely do. Like, yeah, which is great. See,
Is that another way of saying boring?
No,
So much-
I'm not boring.
she doesn't seem boring. Okay, so how was the conversation going? You know, was there a bit of banter? Was it a bit more getting to know each other?
It was a bit of both.
Yeah.
I was super nervous. So
Yeah, I could definitely tell that Brendan was nervous, so
Yeah.
he spoke a lot,
Yep.
which is fine.
Yep.
But yeah, it was. He likes statistics.
What do you mean by that?
Percentages, facts and figures,
Oh, okay.
that
objective,
sort of stuff.
objective stuff helps me get a grasp on stuff. Obviously, it's a challenge when you're sitting with a lady it's all about subjectivity. So, so you're trying to make it about
So
objectivity.
stats is an acquired
No,
taste.
it's probably it. I think I'm going to call red flag on myself there.
It's like, so how
Is
was
that
your
the term?
day?
I'm not quite getting this red flag term. I
Poor
didn't hear it.
Brendan's been thrown in the deep end.
Yeah.
Brendan, looking at his,
why did you match these guys?
Right? Okay, so in our last episode, we were talking about star signs, right?
Yeah.
And I gave my overview on Leos.
Yes.
And guess who's a Leo?
Brendan.
Yes, Brendan's a Leo. And but they can be very sort of leader, very kind of gregarious, very kind of confident, very kind of like, you know, this is who I am, and I'll beat to the sound of my own drum, and I'm proud of it.
Yep.
You know, and very fiery because obviously you're a fire sign. And Jessica is a Gemini. So she's laughing. Eh? I have a good handle on Geminis. My sister's a Gemini. My ex was a Gemini. I'm an air sign myself. I'm a Libran, and so we get on well. Right?
Yeah.
You know, they're very much kind of quirky, very intellectual, very kind of. You know, they're very logical. So it's not, you know, they're very spontaneous. They like to go off and try new things and a bit quirky. All air signs are quite quirky. I'm very quirky as well. You know, but there is a dualness about them, obviously, sign of the twins. So they can come across as being kind of gregarious and loud and stuff, but deep down, they're not an airhead. They're actually quite intelligent. They're quite, you know, logical thinking. They're quite that sort of thing. Love deep conversations. I love to talk. Not just airy fairy crap, but it has to be. There has to be some substance there. Now, the reason why I put you two together is that Geminis and Leos, because they're very independent. You both are very independent sort of people. There wouldn't have been a shy. Well, I'm surprised because you were nervous, but there shouldn't have been a shyness in terms of chatting, talking, in terms of getting to know each other. You're both very confident, very driven people, very kind of people. Putting you guys in a situation like this would be relatively easy, water off a duck's back. Whereas some people, like if it's the earth sign, like Taurus and Virgos, would be like, oh no, you know what I mean? No, this is so scary. You know?
A bit scary.
Yeah. Brendan has kids. I know Jessica doesn't, but you don't smoke. You drink occasionally. You both like beach holidays, and also a camping holiday. Another weird thing is that Brendan actually says his spirit animal's a lion. Well, no shit, Shirley.
Brendan doesn't strike me as the type that would be into star signs.
I know that I'm a Leo, but that's as far as it goes. Like,
But
Many men do.
No
Yeah, not many
more
men do.
understanding of it than that.
Yeah, on the whole, did you guys get along?
Definitely.
That was good.
yeah, I feel there's banter. There is banter. So I guess the big question is, will you guys see each other again?
Jeez, that's a pretty awkward thing to throw on us, like not even separate us. So this is
Well, cover your ears.
this is the part. This is the part where I go, oh, let the lady. I did that last time, so I can't do that again. Look, I think Jess is really lovely, and I really did enjoy our time together. But like, I don't know if we were quite on the same. I don't know. Am I wrong?
No, I think like geographically,
Yep.
it's a bit of a problem.
Yep.
Yeah, I just think we definitely
Distance
got
one.
along.
Yep.
But I don't know if there was like a
The click or the
like romantic
Yep.
spark.
yeah.
Oh man! I had high hopes, man.
But this was this was a great experience for me though. Like I really enjoyed.
It got you out of the house.
I think I was very aware that I was talking. So it was helpful for that. And then hearing you feedback later saying that, yeah, it was clearly awkward when I was talking. I was like, I felt I was clearly awkward, but it was
I
it was
think
good
you're
for
a
that.
little bit too old-fashioned for me as well.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? Like, you know?
Well, he basically said he would like to marry a virgin.
I mean, yeah, you
what
you asked me directly if that was what I said was I'm a bit more realistic than that, but ultimately, and then I went into detail as to why, biologically, historically, a man would choose that. We don't have DNA tests until now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you're a woman, you know that you have paternity because you gave birth to the child, unless somebody swapped it in the back room. But with men, it's historically always been, you want to raise your own children, theoretically not raising the milkmans.
Yeah.
So I think I don't apologise for that innate response, but I can understand how if somebody wasn't a virgin, that would feel insulting, and it wasn't meant like that. But
no, I'm not insulted.
I was just, you asked a direct question. I was trying to be honest with my.
Okay.
I don't expect to marry a virgin. I'm not even really necessarily sure I'd even marry again.
I think that's gonna be pretty darn hard. Isn't
No,
it?
but it was asked, so I thought it was appropriate to answer it honestly and accurately.
Okay, right. On that bombshell.
I'll have no issue dating someone who's not a virgin. I don't anticipate I will marry a virgin, but if asked the question, if you could marry a virgin, would you? The answer is, of course. Would you rather a new car or my truck downstairs?
You can't compare a woman to a car.
Yeah.
No, you can't. But if you ask somebody the question,
Mr. Naomi
directly-
Ko sitting there going,
I'm just being really honest. Like,
No,
I'm
it's
not.
fascinating. It's a good.
Subjectively, this is a challenge. I didn't ask; it's impolite, but I imagine that there's a bit of a generational gap. Also, because I'm conservative from the
You're
country.
only 3 years older than me.
But
So it's not a generation gap.
That's another thing. It's an age thing.
Yeah, but from the country, it's about just being from the country is about 10-year generation. I mean, I listen to Neil Diamond. Come on, guys. Like, there's a generational gap.
Yeah. Right.
I'm from the country. Things that are conservative to people in the city that I've discovered is to me is edgy.
Yeah.
One thing that I've taken away from this is sometimes it's good to have those beliefs and those values. I think it's also important to be open as well to seeing what else, to other viewpoints, other things.
It would be very hard, and I do feel badly for Jess, who's been probably put with one of the hardest sort of partners to sit there and listen to. But look, I really appreciated Jess's tolerance to let me kind of say what I had to say and respond, and I appreciated her input, and it was good.
Look, I think
That's-
I think Jessica's a lovely person.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
we both are. Obviously, it didn't work out. Maybe we'll throw you
If we
back in.
if we can
was
find a
interesting.
city Leo for Jess, that'd be great, guys. So anyone out there, Jess is. I don't anticipate Jess will have any trouble finding somebody who to. I think my challenge will be a little bit harder.
a unicorn.
I've got to find my grandmother
about, like,
today.
non-negotiables.
Yeah, no, definitely. We did talk about non-negotiables.
In our episodes.
and we did touch on this somewhat.
Yeah,
in our
we
last
did.
episode.
And it's always good that you actually find that out on the first date and establish that. But
And some people don't do that in the first date. They don't go delve deep. They just see that initial attraction. I want to get in their pants and what have you. And then it's like, oh, hang on a minute. It's, They don't share the same values. And that's important, I think, especially we're at this age now where, time's short. You want to find that right person for you.
Yep. But we really appreciate your honesty and approaching it with such
Such honesty.
honesty. And just it's really hard to be quite vulnerable and just say these things up front as well, because it doesn't align with everyone's.
No,
Thank you.
No, it's refreshing actually. It's
Yeah.
No, definitely.
So thank you.
You
both.
say that. Jess had to sit there with me for an hour and a half. She might not have found it so
You weren't
refreshing.
that bad.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
So when,
You know,
so when Mum asked later, how'd you date? She says it wasn't that bad.
all's well that ends well.
Love it.
Well, Naomi, yeah, that was quite interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, most definitely left us speechless.
Yeah, I
quite a
mean,
lot
look,
of the time.
we get all sorts, and whilst we may not subscribe to that way of thinking, I guess other people do. But anyway, I think we should move swiftly on.
Yep.
In next week's show, you'll be talking about incorporating traditions with new partners in Wifey Lifey.
And in Lou's dating diary, you're going to explore with us first date locations.
And we ask, is ageism a thing when it comes to dating in question of the week?
And in Star-Crossed Lovers, we'll be summarising the fire signs Sagittarius, Aries and Leo.
And we welcome a brand new, hopefully drama-free, perfect match couple.
All that and more in next week's episode.
Bye.
See ya.